Welcome to the dumbest smart guy podcast on the planet. This is the Central Unintelligence Podcast. Well, yeah, what's happening, everybody? Well, 2025, Adam. I'm Josh. He's Adam. Man, like I said before in the last episode, we've started off with a bang in New Orleans and outside of Trump Tower in Vegas. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, if you'd like to follow us on social media, you can follow us at Game Rage Magazine on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Like, follow, comment, subscribe. You can go to Game Rage Mag on Twitter. You can follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official on Instagram and YouTube. And go to substack.com/ at All Gas No Trash Official to read his stuff, and then also check out the All Gas No Trash podcast. All right, so I guess we'll start in chronological order with the New Orleans attack. In the wee hours of the morning, a fella came and decided to drive his sweet Ford F-150.
A fella.
Well, I mean, I don't want to give the people, prejudiced information.
It'd
Be like, you want to say something racist?
A
dark tanned Arab gentleman.
No, that is not what you say.
Yeah, I didn't say that. You just made me fucking say it.
No, I wasn't even getting at that.
Anyways,
I was just saying. The fact that you called him a fella, you're like, this gentleman drove through.
Fella? He's not a gentleman, but is he not a fella? Like, he was a dude.
Yes, he's a dude, but
no, he was a dude. He's dead. He's not is a dude.
Yes, instead of calling him like a fucking
an asshole,
the perpetrator or
this fella. Hey man, innocent until proven guilty. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. He's a fella. He's a guy. All right.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, technically, this country.
Yes, your innocence is presumed until you are proven guilty.
Even if there's if there's video of you driving through a crowd of people
and then shooting at the police. Anyway, so this individual drove through a crowd, ran a bunch of people over, and then got out and started shooting.
Oh shit! Wait, I didn't hear about that. I just know that he drove through a crowd of people.
Yeah, he drove through a crowd, and then they're being very hush hush with this whole thing for some reason, and I think I know what the reason is. But we'll get to that in a minute. He gets out. He's got body armor on. He had some sort of long rifle, probably like an AR-15 style rifle. Again, it's not fully put out there yet. Gets out, does that. I don't know if he actually shot anybody or if he was only shooting at the cops, because there was a shit ton of cops there. And he killed a couple cops, and then there was I think 30 cops there, right on him as soon as it basically happened, and they all just fucking lit his ass up and took him down. So he's dead. This guy, there's been a lot of fucking fake ass news on the internet, and this is what I fucking hate about these things is the internet sleuths. Sometimes they find shit, and yes, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's accurate, sometimes they do good reporting. But then there's a lot of times, man, that they get thrown at what they think is a bone, and they go down, and it's an incorrect bone, and they go down the fucking rabbit hole and find all this shit and claim all this stuff, and then it turns out to be nothing. The original theory of this whole thing was that this dude was Hispanic. He was a Mexican, and he came from. No, I'm not even fucking with you. This is the legit original. The whole original theory was that he came from Mexico. He drove straight from Mexico up through Texas, and then he fucking drove into New Orleans, and that he was like an illegal immigrant. That was the initial thing that they had thrown out there. Was some Mexican, whatever. And now I understand why that was so big, was because it turns out this dude was fucking Arab, right? And one of the interesting things was he had a flag flying on the back of his fucking truck, and they had they covered it. They covered it very quickly and took it down from that was one of the first things they did. And so a lot of the reports that eventually got out were that he was flying an ISIS flag. on the back of his truck. Now, it's hard to see in like some of the videos. You can't really fucking tell. It's hard because it's dark, and obviously it's a dark flag, so like can't say for sure. But that would kind of make sense. So another conspiracy theory that really, as soon as the Trump Tower thing happened, which we'll talk about in a minute, it immediately came out that, oh, this guy who did this attack and this guy who did the Trump attack, they served at the same military base when they were in the military, right? Which turned out to be total bullshit, because this guy, as they started releasing information, that was so funny, dude, because obviously, you know, my dad's like fucking, he's a Trump guy, right? And so the first thing he told me, when I was like, oh, hey, did you see what happened? And he's like, yeah, I saw the truck came up from Mexico and it was illegal. If this doesn't make you want to say that you support Trump and closing the border, I don't know what does. And I'm like, all right, listen, fucking geezer, we don't have enough information to determine what the fuck is going on. So then that was like as it happened, right? So then literally today, when I read further about how, oh, this dude was actually an American fucking citizen. Oh, really? That's funny. Like, how? And that's what I asked. So I asked him, I said, how would this have stopped him from coming across the border? Let's say he did. Let's say it comes out that, yeah, he was just in Mexico and then he came up. How would this have stopped him? He would have drove through the border checkpoint, showed his ID, and they'd have been like, oh, yeah, dog, you're good to go. You're American. Come on in. Dude was a real estate agent in like the Houston area. I mean, he'd been here for a very long time. I don't think he was a naturally born American citizen. I don't know that for a fact, but he was a real estate agent. Dude had a LinkedIn page and a YouTube channel.
Dude, if he was a sleeper cell for ISIS, man, he really
long con, dude.
He really fucking committed to the role. He's like, oh shit, I gotta murder people.
He got married. He was going through a divorce. Like,
he forgot about the.
Yeah, he's like, oh shit. He's like, I was supposed to do this 15 years ago.
Oh,
like,
fuck.
Like they called him. They called. They're like, hey dog, are you still alive? And he was like, yeah. And they're like, dude, what the fuck, man? You were supposed to have like done some attack like 15 years ago.
Hey, man, you were supposed to fucking be at 9/11. What the fuck? Like,
he's like, dude, I got this successful business. I got married and kids. Like, I'm a straight American now.
He's like, I don't know, man. I got it pretty good here.
Yeah, I like McDonald's, man. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, dude had a YouTube channel. Dude had a LinkedIn page, all this shit, right? And what's fucking crazy is the stuff was up for a very short time. Once the internet sleuths did figure out who he was, they started trying to look him up on everything, right? And they found that YouTube deleted his channel, Facebook deleted his fucking shit, LinkedIn deleted his page, and it was like they wiped his shit like very fucking quickly.
That's probably to prevent internet sleuths from picking apart information. And maybe they'd still technically exist, but now they're just private. And
yeah, they could have just hidden it from everybody, but like they show up as like, oh, they've been gone, they're deleted, right? And that's also very strange to me, because the cops don't release any of that information, right? Or they're not supposed to, at least, but why are they releasing it to corporations, these major corporations, to like delete people's shit before, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of weird, because how would the fuck would they know that this guy was the one that did it? You wouldn't. Like, they'd have no fucking idea unless somebody told them, oh, hey, we think it's this fucking guy. And sure, maybe they called him and said like, hey, can you look up this guy and give us his YouTube profile? And they were like, yeah, sure, here you go. And then they just turned it off so no one could find it. But like, I don't know, man. That's a little fucking sketchy. And also, same thing with Elon. We'll get to that in the fucking Trump Tower blowing up thing. We'll get to that in a minute. But there's also some very fucking strange things related to that, which I don't know. People should be fucking really reconsidering buying. If they've bought a Tesla in there, they should really reconsider fucking if they should get rid of that shit. But anyways, so this dude, it was kind of said that this guy, like, people were saying that he was in the military, and it turns out that, okay, he tried to get into the Navy, but then ended up, I don't know, he didn't even make it to like going to boot camp. Like, he went into the program, like did the late entry program, and then like, I I don't know what happened. They figured out he was a terrorist probably, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you can't be in." And he was like, "All right."
He saw Dave Goggins and he wasn't going to carry
He
the
was
boats.
like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm not carrying any of these boats." He's like, "Fuck this shit. I'm going back to fucking Houston and I'm gonna sell fucking houses."
Yeah, I'm just going to be a army fucking paratrooper, whatever the fuck.
I didn't even do that. He supposedly wasn't in the. He just didn't go in the military. So that's when I heard that, and I had been hearing that thing about, oh, these two guys had like served together at the same base. I'm like, okay, first of all, generally, that's bullshit for sure, because that guy probably wouldn't have been assigned to a naval base, or that dude wouldn't have been assigned to an army base, for any significant amount of time. And also, that dude wasn't even in the Navy technically. So, anyways, they're still obviously they've been going around, and like they and initially it was said that it was very like 100% certain that there were other people involved that helped them do this or whatever. And then after like about a day, they were like, "Oh no, we investigated everybody and everybody's cool. Like nobody did anything wrong." It's like, all right, that's a little fishy. They did a lot of search warrants. None of that shit's come out yet, and there is. There was the senator or the congressman for that area of New Orleans. He did a little press conference afterwards, and he had said basically like, "Hey, there's things that I'm being told that I'm not going to share with you because of I don't want it to interfere with the investigation." But he was like, when this is all said and done, and this has all been figured out, and everything's been taken care of, the American people need to know what has happened here and why it happened. And he's like, and they were like, because they postponed the Sugar Bowl because of this whole thing. They like postponed it like a couple of days because it was supposed to happen on whatever New Year's Day, and I think they postponed it to like,
it was yesterday, and they made it today.
They made it today, yeah, okay. So they even postponed it because of intelligence that they had related to this, and so it kind of leads me to believe there was this lady who worked for, this is kind of a side topic, but it is somewhat relevant. And we'll talk about it at the end of the episode because I don't want to delve into that just yet. But essentially, there's this lady who was a former CIA analyst that she was predicting what she thought was going to happen in 2025 based on her experience and everything. And a lot of it had to do with there being a lot of terrorist attacks here in the United States. So anyways, we get to later in that same day, we have this Cybertruck roll up to the Trump Tower or the Trump Hotel in Vegas and just detonate. So it was a sweet video. I mean,
yeah,
like it was pretty cool. I will say though, like the guy wasn't really trying to fucking blow the shit up, right? I don't think he was really trying to kill anybody but himself, because yeah, you just had some gasoline and some like fucking Coleman fucking liquid propane canisters and a bunch of fireworks, right? It's not gonna cause that massive. It's not like he had like ammonium nitrate fucking fertilizers and shit like that in there to really cause like a massive detonation. And so, I mean, the dude is dead that did it. He was a former Army Special Forces guy. Like this is like a high level dude. And he basically, the story goes, as we're being told, that he rented this fucking Cybertruck in Colorado and drove it straight to fucking Vegas and parked in front of, obviously, to be honest, it seemed clearly like there was a message being sent to Elon and Trump, right?
Of all places, though, the one place on the strip that's not populated or has any people or any foot traffic, other than if you were trying to send a message, then I guess that would be the place, because then there's probably not going to be any casualties. It still kind of gets the message across. Like even if you fail, just the explosion alone would, I guess, maybe get. But have they determined like a motive of why he did it?
No, that hasn't been released yet. But one of the fucking very interesting things about this whole thing, Elon Musk came out immediately after this happened and said, "Wow, the evil knuckleheads who..." Oh fuck! I think I have the actual tweet that I fucking took a screenshot of because it was fucking hilarious. I was like,
calling somebody like that a knucklehead.
He said, "The evil knuckleheads picked the wrong vehicle for a terrorist attack. Cybertruck actually contained the explosion and directed the blast upwards. Not even the glass doors of the lobby were broken. all right, Elon, let's slow our fucking roll here, okay? It's just because this clearly was not designed to cause a massive explosion. Gasoline doesn't explode like that. Gasoline in containers doesn't do that. Yeah, maybe those little liquid propane Coleman fucking things can explode, but it's fireworks. Like, it was a bunch of fireworks and some of that shit. It was just meant to blow up the car, basically. And not even blow it up. It was really more of like just light it on fire. And yeah, the dude was inside of it when it happened, so he clearly was trying to just kill himself. And I feel like that he was like, oh, no, I'm just going to do this. If he wanted to, I'm sure he knew that guy knows how to make a fucking homemade massive explosive. And I'm sure he could have fucking detonated that whole goddamn, what do you call it? That whole fucking front fascia of the goddamn building if he wanted to. But he didn't. So, but one of the very, very, very crazy things is the Las Vegas police chief at the press conference personally thanked Elon Musk because he called them and said, hey, what do you guys want to know about this car? He's like, I got all this info. He gave him fucking surveillance footage of every single charging station this dude fucking stopped at. He fucking gave him the whole fucking shit, right? And also unlocked the car for them. Because apparently when the stuff caught on fire or like the fireworks shit exploded, the car like locked itself down or whatever and forced itself to like stay locked, which is kind of fucked up because if your Tesla Cybertruck catches on fire, I would not want to be forced to stay inside of it. Like, I think that's a fucking bad safety feature. But whatever. So anyways, Elon, he fucking unlocked it for him so they could fucking get in remotely. To me, that's like, it's one of those things that I don't necessarily think is your business. It's not your job. All right. Now, granted, I know that companies aren't bastions of fucking protecting our rights and we have no fucking privacy with them. But just like with the Luigi Mangione thing and the fucking CEO of that backpack company calling him up and saying, yo, give me the serial number. I'll tell you everything you want to know. Going out of your way to do that shit and not kind of protect, even if your shit's used, for whatever. I mean, listen, I don't think these companies should be doing that kind of stuff. But again, that's their choice to do it. Just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean anything. But I will say this: if you own a Tesla, you should just be concerned about that because it doesn't matter. It does not matter if you have done anything wrong. And people always say that, oh, Josh, well, if you're not out there committing crimes, then what do you have to hide? Well, I don't have shit to hide. But I also don't want, if I'm driving around and Elon doesn't like one thing that I said on my Twitter and decides to fucking call the cops and say, hey, here's this guy's fucking GPS location tracker. And he does over the speed limit all the time. He does all this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Or he's a terrorist.
Yeah, or maybe even saying, hey, like our car picked up him saying he was gonna kill some CEO, and then here they go, right? Because listen, if your car has any sort of modern technology in it, it's listening to you. That's just the bottom line. Our cell phones do that too, but Apple's not fucking sending my shit to the government. Samsung's not sending shit to the government. No one's sitting there analyzing it, all right, and listening and sending it to the local police. Elon seems like the type of dude that would do that. Like, oh, good.
It's like a suspension of like privacy that somebody like Elon would be willing to just hand you over to the authorities.
Yeah, with nothing, just because. And then again, like I said, to use that as a tool to take down dissenters, and he clearly showed it right now. And then going on Twitter and being very proactive and saying like, oh, it wasn't the truck, it was it. And somebody posted a fucking tweet, and I was about to do it, but someone beat me to it, so I couldn't. But they said, hey, Elon, it's kind of sad that it's 2025 now, and you make a car that's so bad that people don't know if a terrorist used it as an IED or if it just blew up on its own. I was like, damn. I was going to say pretty much that exact same thing, and I was like, fuck, you beat me to it. I can't say it. But
those are getting recalled.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Those electric cars, most of them, it's not just Tesla, but mostly Teslas, they just randomly catch on fire. So it is crazy, but this is, I think, and then obviously the FBI and everybody's come out now and said that these two things were not related. And probably, I'd say that's probable. I do think the New Orleans attack, I do think that this guy probably was affiliated with some sort of terrorist organization. And to go back to what I was talking about earlier, there was this lady who is a former CIA analyst. Her name's Sarah Adams. And she went on a show. You can fucking Google it and figure it out. I'm not going to fucking plug this dude because he doesn't fucking plug us, and I don't give a shit either way. But you can go listen to it if you want. But she was on this show, and she gave her like predictions. And she's like a former, career CIA analyst that was very heavily involved with, Middle East and terrorist organizations and things like that. And one of the things that she was talking about in there is that over the past several years that Al-Qaeda, she said, especially last year in 2024 and 2023, that essentially like Al-Qaeda and ISIS and the major terrorist groups that have worked together, they've basically trained and they've sent dudes over 1,000 guys into America. And that's for sure. That's like confirmed. Like they know that. They don't know where they are, but they know that they've gotten at least 1,000 guys across the border that are trained and know what's up. So one of the things that is concerning about that is she was talking about the new way that they've trained them, and it's involving the 2015 Mumbai attacks that happened. Those were kind of a new beginning for like ISIS and like terrorist attacks, as they started adapting their tactics and they started changing the way they do things. They started doing these attacks in multiple locations at the same time. These guys were being fed live information from someone that was not a party to the action, being someone that was like, quote unquote, like in terrorist intelligence, right? Like the terrorist cell has 5 guys that are going to go do the attack. And then they have like 2 people they're like intel guys that are just sitting back at like wherever their original safe house is or somewhere completely different. And they're watching news coverage and telling them where they're going and what the cops are doing and what the authorities' response sort of is, so that they can prolong the attack by evading authorities. And that's kind of what happened within those terrorist attacks. And so that's like their new MO that they've been training up, that they're like really going to do. And one thing is that here in America, it is something that we've never really experienced before on that level. The rest of the world has been experiencing that for, a decade. And we haven't had that shit here. Also, one of the things we really haven't had here is like the legit suicide bombing. Like a legit suicide bomber, like a dude walks into a building with a fucking vest on and blows himself up. That's something that we really haven't seen here in the United States. And I don't think that I don't think our citizenry is prepared for that by any stretch. That's going to be, if that is the sort of thing that does happen in 2025, that supposedly is what potentially could happen. That's something that's going to be probably very devastating, even though it may be, and in the grand scheme, it may be only a few thousand people that die like from these attacks, but the psychological effect of those things are going to that's going to be the major toll. Because if you've got suicide bombers showing up to fucking events, and they're talking that they've developed these suicide vests that are capable of just being, they're very slim, they're very thin, and they're like essentially undetectable. And you get a couple of those dudes to show up at the Super Bowl, you get tickets to go in, you get them to start going to a couple of major events, and then you start shutting the economy down. You start shutting shit down because people aren't going to want to go, because, oh shit, if there's a possibility that this place might blow up, I don't really want to go see Taylor Swift if there's the possibility that I could die, right? That's one of the, most people are going to say, I'll just sit at home. I'll go watch the Super Bowl at home next year or whatever. I'll go watch my NFL games at home. I'll watch whatever at home, as opposed to going and potentially being fucking blown up. So that's something that, yeah, sure, that could potentially happen at any time. But I thought it was very interesting that this lady came out on this podcast or whatever in the middle of December, and now here we are going into 2025. And day one of 2025, we've had what is probably going to later come out as a terrorist-sponsored or terrorist-related attack. being the one in New Orleans. I guess the other Cybertruck thing was just a unhappy coincidence that happened on the same day. At this, around this little few hours later. But I hope that's not coming for us, because obviously that's going to suck balls, because it's not going to be fun and it's going to be terrible, but it is what it is. Just information, food for thought. Obviously, this whole thing with these two incidences is an ongoing situation, I guess, or investigation. So I'm sure we'll be given more information potentially as time goes on. But as of right now, it's just a good, it's just a good reminder to the rest of us to say, hey, just pay attention to your surroundings, and that's it. You don't have to be afraid to go anywhere, but just, pay attention. Don't fucking be scrolling on your phone, walking around everywhere. Maybe, hey, pay attention to looking around. And if, you see some fucking crazy shit, maybe you can get yourself out of there before it fucking pops off. I don't know. So, anyways, all right, I guess that's it. You got anything else to add? That's a negative. All right, well, go to Game Rage Magazine, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. Game Rage Mag, Twitter / just Twitter. It's not Twitter / it's Twitter. Also, you can follow at All Gas No Trash Official on Instagram and YouTube, and Substack.com / at All Gas No Trash Official. All right, that's it. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
That was the latest episode of the Central Unintelligence Podcast. Don't forget, subscribe and like on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine. We're also on Twitter /X at Game Rage Mag. Also our website, www.GameRageMagazine.com.